episode 58, 5-1 sports movies. Wow. Let me hear your Owen Wilson wow.
Wow.
That's a good one. Let me hear your shit.
Wow.
That was terrible, Jed.
Wait, let me do it. Wow.
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 Okay. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of 5-1. 5-1 is all about the countdown from our panel of experts on a different topic
each week.
Today, we are featuring the best sports movies in our style of counting down from
5
to 1.
How amazing is that song? The one we just
That's
played.
a ringtone.
It is my ringtone.
You never even bug to change it. It's that good.
And I know you've heard it at baseball games when players hit a home run, but do you know what movie it's from?
The Natural.
That's right. Give me a fist bump on that. Did you know that, Kate?
I have not seen that movie.
I don't think Jet has either, but he's very inquisitive when it comes to movies and asks a lot of questions. So that is an amazing sports movie. Maybe it made my list.
Maybe not.
Not yours, obviously, because you haven't seen it, but
I will see it soon.
Might be my number one.
probably not. But I guess we'll find out soon. But before we get much further, we should probably introduce our panel of little giants. I'm Chris, and I'm joined by my two sporty sons.
Cade Moore.
That's my 14-year-old.
Jet Maximus Keith Moore.
My 11-year-old. And we are...
5 to 1.
Did you guys have any rules for your list?
It has to be a sport movie.
Besides the obvious, it has to be a sports movie.
No.
For me, it can't have just some sports parts and call it a sports movie. It's a lot of just full-on sports.
Okay. For me, I had 5 baseball movies at first, so I cut out several of those
I got
to get some
2.
variety. Okay. Well, did you have a hard time narrowing your list down?
No.
All right. Well, let's get right to the list. As a reminder to our longtime listeners, we've changed up the format a bit. So if you're looking forward to Fun Fact of the Week or Jet's Pun of the Week, we will get to those after we have finished our lists and listener choices. Good?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Number 5.
What you got, Cade?
All right, Talladega Nights.
Nice.
Oh, that's really nice.
Honorable mention for me. That's a good one.
It's so funny.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I did. I watched it. It was on Netflix for a little while. So
Yeah. That's where
If
you
you
and I
ain't
watched
first,
it.
you're
there.
last.
That's right. Shake and bake. What's your favorite part in the movie? I know there's a lot of funny parts.
I know. I can't really decide.
Mine
It's
is
too much.
me and Dad quoted a lot where he's like, he can't decide what he's gonna do because he quit racing, and he's like, I'll be a friendly crack dealer. Like, hey, you want some crack? You know.
That part's funny. I like when he's praying and he keeps saying little baby
yeah.
Jesus.
Sweet little baby Jesus.
They're
I like the
you know
baby version of Jesus. And the old man is the grandpa is like, yes, he's a grown man. He's got a full beard.
So funny. I love that movie. Also, when he thinks he's on fire and he's not, and he's running around, he strips down to his underwear. Yeah, great movie. Okay, Talladega Nights number 5. That was an honorable mention for me.
And it is a sport movie because NASCAR's a sport.
Sure, it qualifies. All right, Jet, what do you got for number 5?
My number 5 is Rookie of the Year.
Oh, nice, with Henry Rowan-Gardner.
Yeah, where he's like 11, I think.
I think he's a little older than that, but somewhere around there.
And he becomes a pitcher for the Chicago Cubs.
That's right.
And he is.
How does he become a pitcher for the Cubs?
He slips on his arm, and it becomes very OP.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that one where he cranks his arm back and
Yes.
shoots it forward? Yeah,
Yes.
I've seen that movie.
Yeah, that's my number 5. I have a lot of memories with this because I always thought that's gonna be me when I'm 14.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I remember one part where doesn't he catch a ball in the stands and he throws it back?
That's how he
And-
gets.
and it's
that's how they discover him.
Yeah, that's when
Yeah.
they're like.
He catches the ball and they're like, throw it back. So he does, and it fires it all the way into the catcher from center field.
Yeah,
or wherever there.
and then the batter slides.
That's right. yeah, even though it was a home run. Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't make my list, but I did think about it, and it did come out quite a bit in listener choices. So it's a popular one. I like that. All right, here's a little clue for my number 5.
Can you come out?
You guys won't get it. but maybe you're familiar with the movie. You haven't seen it, I'm pretty sure. But if I give you a few clues, number one, it's a basketball movie. Does that help?
No.
Okay. The actors that are in it are Wesley Snipes, who is also Willie Mays Hayes, and Blade, that guy, and Woody Harrelson, who is also Tobias Beckett and Woody from Cheers, in a basketball movie with those two guys, white guy and a black guy.
Space? No, that's with Michael Jordan.
Clearly, you guys aren't on board. It's called White Man Can't Jump.
I saw that on a bunch of lists
I've
online.
heard of it.
You haven't heard of it, Jet?
Nope.
Okay, well, it came out in 1992. It's about two kind of hustlers that they hustle people playing basketball and make money from it, you know? And they figure if they team up, they could really scam a lot of people. And Rosie Perez is in it too. Yeah, that's Woody's girlfriend in the movie. And it's a great cast. It's got a lot of humor. It's a really fun story. It's got enough drama to keep you entertained. And to be honest, in a weird way, it's kind of a touching movie, the story between the two protagonists and their struggles. And it uses like a lot of race, like because one's white and one's black, and street basketball is very much a black man's sport. So it uses race a lot to propel the humor and the story, but it does it in a way that's charming, not offensive, and not overbearing. So, interesting fact: in real life, Woody Harrelson is a much better basketball player than Wesley Snipes, but in the movie they are depicted as kind of roughly equal in the film.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for my number 5. Kate, what do you got for number 4?
Rocky 4.
Nice.
With Ivan Drago?
Ivan Drago, that's right.
I say Ivan Drago.
I like him better than Rocky in the movie.
Do you really? Interesting.
He's awesome. He looks like superhuman.
You're like
Yeah.
how they talks in the movie.
He does, but his lines are memorable. Do you know any?
I think I know one.
I must break you.
Oh, yeah.
Or if he dies, he dies.
Rocky's always been
Who would win in a fight in real life back then?
I mean, Dolph Lundgren is a lot bigger than Sylvester Stallone. I mean, Sylvester Stallone's like crazy strong and tough though. So I would pick Dolph, but I don't really know their actual training. Off the top of my head, I'd say Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, that's my favorite Rocky.
So I'll go ahead and spoil it. It's also my number 4, Rocky 4. What I was going to do was, if you guys had one of mine, I was going to sub in one of my honorable mentions, because I had a lot of honorable mentions that I really wanted to put on my list, but I'm not going to do that. So Rocky 4, it's not the most common choice among Rocky films. Most people
Rocky
pick
3 is the one with Mr. T.
Clubber Lang, and people love Rocky 2. People love the first Rocky. I would say the 3 of those would be more popular choices than Rocky 4, but maybe it's because of my age. It came out in 1985. I was old enough to watch it kind of over the next few years, and it's also very 80s. Very, very 80s. A lot of 80s pop culture, like in movies and stuff, revolves around Russia as this big bad enemy. We were in the Cold War, and
They were big bad enemy.
they were the big bad enemy in real life, so a lot of the pop culture reflected that. And Ivan Drago, like, perfectly epitomizes that fear of Russia in the 80s. He's a machine. The lines we mentioned before, they're classic quotes, and he is like very much the way he's cold and calculated is how we viewed Russia in the 80s. So when I think of Rocky, this is the first movie that comes to mind. And
Doesn't he wear like red and yellow?
yeah, he does. This is the Russian flag. And because of that, it's my number 4 sports movie of all time. All right, Jet, what's your number 4?
Cool Runnings.
Nice. I love that choice.
Cool Runnings is what I did not expect, but it's about Darius. He is
Darius Bennick.
Yeah, Darius. He's a really good like track guy. He's really good at running.
Yeah.
And there's 2 guys that were running with him. They later on get in a crew with Sanka.
Yeah.
Isn't Darius like a German or Russian city?
I don't know.
One of the guy falls, and Darius, the main character, and the other guy fall over, and so they can't become like this major track people.
They can't go to the Olympics. That's the thing.
Yeah, and so they become a Jamaican bobsled team,
That's right.
and it's awesome. And I love how in the end they didn't succeed, because if they succeed, it would be very anticlimactic, you know.
It would be like too wrapped up in a gift with a bow, like too much.
Yeah, but they lost, and I really love that movie.
Yeah, it's really funny. Kate, you haven't seen it, have you? I remember this movie came out in the early 90s when I was a young preteen, and I was old enough to kind of ride my bike to my friend's house across the city. And during the summer, we went and watched this at the Dollar Theater like 5 times.
It's really fun.
Yeah, it is a really fun movie. Good choice. That was also in our listener choices. One person picked it. I'll save that for when we get there. But
come on, guys.
So it didn't win, but it did get a vote. I like it. All right, I already told my number 4 is Rocky 4. So, Cade, what is your...
Number 3.
Yeah, my number 3 is Karate Kid.
Karate Kid, the first one, the original.
Yeah, the original one.
Nice.
Not the one with Jane Smith.
Sweep the leg. Not the one with Jane Smith, like the one with Ralph Macchio.
The reboot?
Yeah.
I didn't like the reboot.
That's a good choice, too. Another classic 80s movie, and I like how they have the tournament format at the end. It makes it kind of cool. Do you think that... Have you watched any of the reboot of the new TV show? What's it called? Cobra Kai?
I've seen the first 2 episodes because it was free on YouTube, but the rest are on YouTube Red, which costs money.
Yeah.
But the first 2 episodes were really entertaining.
You liked it?
Honestly, Johnny's a lot more entertaining than Daniel.
Well, a lot of people have theorized, even before that show came out, that Daniel-san is actually the bad guy in the original movie.
He kind of... It's a point of view, and he kind of is.
I mean, if you really skew the facts, then yes, he is, but it's not what was intended.
Yeah. But Johnny was innocent, man.
Not in the original movie.
He kind of was. I mean, it was more Daniel's fault.
You mean like when he beat the crap out of him and threw him down a hill and wrecked his bike?
Well, when he did that, he had a reason, and when he was...
What was his reason?
Well, let me get back to that. But after in Halloween, when they all beat him up again, that's because Daniel took it way too far with that shower thing and getting him all wet.
Yeah, so he wasn't totally innocent, but he was definitely acting out of self-defense most of the time.
Daniel sucker punched him.
Yeah.
He got up and punched him right in the face.
After he was shoved to the ground, yes.
Yeah, that was just a shove.
It's still starting a fight. I mean,
a shove is different from a punch.
So if
the shove does start a fight. I mean, like...
A shove definitely starts a fight. Like, think about Jose Bautista shoving Odor, and Odor punched him back. That's what happens when you shove somebody. You're starting a fight.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Let's just move on.
All right. So, Karate Kid's your number 4, Cade.
3.
Number 3. What did you think of the girl in Karate Kid?
The next Karate Kid?
No.
Oh, Allie?
Is that her name?
Yeah, Allie.
She's all right.
It's Elizabeth Shue is the actress's name. I don't know the character's name. She was like really 80s hot.
Yeah, Allie. She's pretty cool.
All right. Jet, what's your number 3?
Mighty Ducks.
Flying V.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite character in the Mighty Ducks?
Mine is that one...
Daffy.
That one kid that can hit the puck really... I don't know
the
what...
The giant kid that they take off the street who hits the puck like 1,000,000 miles an hour but has no accuracy?
Yeah, that's my favorite character.
Okay.
Haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Mighty Ducks? Oh my gosh, Cade.
Another movie I fell asleep watching.
Really?
Not because I don't like it, it's because I was tired.
Jet, did you see D2?
No, I haven't.
Okay, that one's not nearly as good, but probably worth watching.
I
like Mighty Ducks. I had there's three movies that are similar to Mighty Ducks, or 2 others that are similar to Mighty Ducks that are in different sports that are kind of like kids coming of age movies, sports movies. There's a baseball one that I'm sure we'll get to eventually, and there's a football one that's probably not on our list, but it's called The Little Giants. That's what I called you guys.
I've heard The Little Giants.
And of those 3, I think The Mighty Ducks is my second favorite out of them.
Yeah, it's mine too.
Okay, well, we'll get to the other one. I'm sure we'll get there soon. All right, my number 3, this might surprise you because this probably should be my number 1. I'll give you a few clues. Father and Son. Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Oh, Field of Dreams, dude, come on.
Have a Catch, and If You Build It. Those were my clues. You're right. This is my number 3. And here's the thing. If I had to choose, if somebody said, what is your favorite sports movie of all time? My answer is Field of Dreams. It's my favorite.
Well, I was going to ask you guys, is it okay if I have a tie on my list?
You better have a really compelling reason.
Well...
But save it. Let me finish here. So this is one of my favorite movies of all time. And for this list, I knocked it down to number 3 because I felt like what is my number 1 choice, I needed to show some love for a different reason, that I'll get to that. And number 2 is only there because it prevents me from having 2 baseball movies back to back. This movie really does it for me. It's got a mysterious element to it, a supernatural element to it. It's about baseball. It's all about baseball and has historical players in it. The actors and the characters are likable or unlikable as they are intended. And it's really touching. The father-son element really tugs at my heartstrings. And this movie, at the end, it still chokes me up with the whole let's have a catch scene between father and son. And in fact, this movie has influenced me in the way that I father you two. Because when I'm trying to do something special for you guys, like if I'm taking you somewhere new or exciting, or if I'm trying to make a holiday or a birthday really special for you, or even hosting this podcast with you guys, among many other things, I will think to myself that I want this to be a have a catch moment for you. Something that you remember when you're grown, that when you look back at it, you think about it with warm feelings or good memories. So, and I do. I think about that often when I'm doing stuff with you guys. So this really is my favorite, but today I'm holding it at number 3.
James Earl Jones. Man, what does he become in the future?
Darth Vader?
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually a long time ago.
Well, yeah, I guess. I guess he turns good again.
Yeah, just like Darth Vader.
He should have been in the Darth Vader suit.
I don't think he would have fit. All right, Cade, what's your...
Number 2.
I had Major League.
You need to say that more clearly.
Major League.
Major League is your number 2. Why is it your number 2?
I like it. It's very rewatchable.
It is very rewatchable. Yes, for sure.
I love Major League too.
Is it on your list?
It's
You
entertaining.
want to save it?
too.
You can save it.
Yeah.
Save it.
It's just
So
My favorite scene is bat sweat hats.
hats for bats. Keep
Hat
bats
for bats,
warm. Gracias.
that's
And he goes,
Pedro.
whoa, whoa, whoa. And he looks at him and he's like, all right, you keep that. And he pulls his golf clubs around. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Pedro. CC Pedro. Jet,
my favorite
or who's your favorite character?
That guy.
Is Pedro?
Yeah.
Ricky
He's
Vaughn.
awesome. Ricky Vaughn.
there's Jake Taylor, Ricky Vaughn, Willie Mays Hayes. Those are the most popular choices.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Pedro, like Cade.
Yeah.
And
All right. You know, I love Major League. That's a great choice. That's one of my favorites. So good call. All right, Jet, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Sandlot.
The Sandlot. So that's obviously the one I was referring to when I talked about a children's coming of age movie, sports movie like The Mighty Ducks. Of course, The Sandlot is the baseball equivalent. What's your favorite? Who's your favorite character in The Sandlot?
The Sandlot?
Yeah.
Squints.
Squints?
There's
Yeah.
Squints. I love Ham too. I feel like he's underrated.
Yeah, he is really funny. There's a lot of great characters. I know you love Timmy and Tommy Timmons.
No, I hate the younger one. He always just copies him.
That's one of my favorite characters.
The worst character is not Tommy or Timmy Timmons. It's Bertram, the tall one.
I don't. Bartram hardly does anything in the
Exactly.
movie.
Except he brings the tobacco. He brings the chaw to the
Yeah, but besides
carnival.
that, like
He's the worst character.
the best.
Squints might be the best.
Squints is the best. Then it's Ham. Then it's Benny.
Benny.
Then it's what's that one kid's name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
What-
it's Smalls.
Smalls, okay.
Who would be the rest? Don't really matter besides them.
Yeah, those are the main ones, I guess. I love that movie. That's a great movie.
Great movie, yeah.
Okay, do you have anything to say about that, or do you want us to move on?
Move on.
All right. My number 2, you guys, I'm going to give you some clues. I'll play the song right now. Some clues. Number 1, I don't think you've seen this movie, but if I give you enough clues, you'll be able to
That's
guess
a
what it
good
is.
clue to help us find it out.
Truck driver.
Cars.
Nope. Truck driver is on a road trip with his son. Okay. He's on a road trip with his son headed to an arm wrestling tournament in Las Vegas.
That's the one with Sylvester Stallone
Yeah.
in it, and he was arm wrestling that one guy that he actually loses to at one part with the green tank top.
Yeah.
He's big, he's jacked. They arm wrestle. It's really close, and boom, he wins.
What's the name of the movie?
I have no idea.
It's called Over the Top.
You showed me that when I was like 4.
I love this movie. So I realized when I put this on here, I have 2 Sylvester Stallone movies on my list, but I had to include this movie. First of all, Stallone's name in the movie is Lincoln Hawk. That's an amazing name.
That's a rad name.
Lincoln Hawk. And the premise is so strangely 80s and kitschy. It's so bad that it's good. Lincoln Hawk is trying to win back his son's affection on a road trip by winning an arm wrestling tournament in Las Vegas. It's so strange.
But it's amazing.
But it works. And apparently Stallone didn't like the movie when it was done. He didn't like the finished product. And I can see why. Because if he's trying to be like a serious actor, this is not a serious movie. But for the same reasons he didn't like it, I loved it. I mean, even the song that was just playing, it has like 80s montage written all
I want
over
to watch
it.
it tonight.
I love it. So for
Do we have it?
Probably. I'll have to look for it. So for the pure fun factor, the Karate Kid / March Madness style tournament bracket, and for brilliantly weaving this strange story into a touching father-son redemption theme, I'm ranking Over the Top as my number 2 sports movie of all time. And that brings us to you, Cade.
Number 1.
Now, this is technically a sports movie. I looked it up.
Okay,
It's on
so
the list.
if you're saying technically, that makes me think it's probably a stretch.
It's
but
Cars.
Cars is not a sports
Yes, it
movie.
is.
That's not a sports movie.
I looked it up.
Okay, I'm sure somebody on the internet agrees with you.
But how is that a sports movie? I mean, there's racing in it, of course. That's
If
like
you're going to
the
say
huge
that
thing,
Talladega Nights is, I guess you could say that Cars is, but it's more of a stretch because it's a Disney movie. More
You want me
than-
to change it to what I originally thought was my number 1?
Well, keep it whatever you want. What was your other number 1?
It was The Sandlot, because I
Okay,
love that
well,
movie.
we already talked about it.
Yeah,
so.
I know.
So you
It was
changed.
between those two, and Jet, I said Sandlot, so I was like, I should do something else.
Okay, that's fine. I'll allow it, I guess.
Not really.
Barely. But we do have fond memories of Cars. That was the
Love
first
Cars.
movie that you saw in the theater.
Yeah.
And Jet, Cars 2 was the first movie you saw in the theater. And we used to
Cars
watch it a
3.
lot when you were little. We did.
I love Cars. It's funny.
It is funny. Ka-chow.
Ciao.
Cars 3 is not that good, but Cars 1 and 2 is pretty good.
I mean, I played this racing game, like 2 or 3 years ago, and
Need for Speed?
The game, no, Forza Horizon, and it gives you a lot of like custom ability to whatever car you want, whatever. And I have every car in Cars like that race.
You have Tomater?
Yeah, I have Tomater.
He's the best character for sure.
I had the Noka one. I think his name was King, the really
I
big
don't-
spoiler, the blue one that crashed.
Don't remember any of the others besides Tomater and the main one, Lightning McQueen.
Yeah,
Lightning
I have that one.
McQueen's obviously the best one.
People
No way.
have
Wow. That's Lightning McQueen. It's the same actor. Did you know that?
Owen Wilson.
Seriously?
Owen Wilson.
It's Owen Wilson. Wow. Let me hear your Owen Wilson wow.
Wow,
That's a good one. Let me hear your shit.
Wow.
that was terrible, Jen.
Wait, let me get. Wow.
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 Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and like, there's a big argument on what car Lightning McQueen is,
Yeah.
and Disney came into it and was like, "He's not a car. He's his own car. I mean, he's like, not like a real life car like Tomater is or
Sure.
the other ones. Like, he's just a
Like
car.
the girl is like a Porsche, I think.
Yeah, the girl's
Yeah.
a Porsche, and then like, and everyone's like, he's like a Corvette. No, he's like some Dodge car or Ford Focus or whatever.
You had a lot of Cars toys when you were little. A lot of them. That was like
Wait, Cars toys or the movie Cars?
the movie Cars toys.
Oh.
Yeah, he did. All right. Anything else about Cars?
Nah.
All right, Jet, what's your number 1?
You know when I said I had a tie on my list?
Yeah, here's your tie.
I can't really decide between Major League, of course,
Okay.
and Field of Dreams.
Okay. So which one are you picking?
I can't. They're both Major League. Me and Dad have memories of just we quoted a lot, and it's a really funny movie that Dad always falls asleep to. There's that. Field of Dreams is a really touching movie. Not much comedy. Just really, it's entertaining. You cannot fall asleep to it. I can't decide.
So you got a tie between Major League and Field of Dreams. You should have made them 1 and 2 and knocked something else off your list.
All my other choices are really solid.
All right, fine. So you have a tie, but I'm cutting you off there unless you have something really specific you'd like to say about either movie.
Just choose one.
No, he's already said it's a tie. But do you have anything else to say about them?
They're great.
They're great. All right, my number 1, I'll make it easy. I've seen this movie more than any other movie in the world, times 100 probably.
Die Hard.
No, it's a Major League. You just said I watch it all the time.
Die Hard, what?
There are so many things I love about this movie, and I'll try to keep it simple. But first of all, it's effing hilarious. Lots of funny moments in the movie. Second, the characters. There's like 10 you could choose as your favorite, and I wouldn't argue with you. The obvious ones are Rick Vaughn, Wild Thing. Jet, that was yours, right?
Jake Taylor.
Jake Taylor's the protagonist and the catcher. Pedro Serrano, Kate, you picked. You got Roger Dorn.
Willie Mays Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes. My favorite has not been mentioned yet. Is
It's not even a common one.
Harry
dude.
Doyle, the play-by-play announcer played by Bob Euchre.
Ball 4, ball 8, ball 12.
I don't know how they're laying out these. Just a bit outside. He is hilarious and perfect for this role. The funniest character in the movie, if you ask me. The baseball is also really good in this movie. Charlie Sheen was a baseball player before he was an actor. He was offered a baseball scholarship to the University of Kansas and was really throwing those fastballs that you see in his role as the Wild Thing. So that's why it looked real. Now, he couldn't throw 101 or 96, but he could throw in the mid-80s even after not playing for a while, and it looked real. Pedro Serrano, his swings look real. When he's taking batting practice in the beginning and he's cranking those home runs out into the trees, that looks like a real baseball player taking those swings. The characters are believable. Jake Taylor, the catcher, he's like Carlton Fisk. They even said
I love Carlton Fisk.
They even said he was an all-star in Boston. The coach says that, Lou, right? Eddie Harris, the old pitcher that has like all the different creams and stuff on his body.
I don't like him.
Well, that's Gaylord Perry. He was infamous for like doctoring the ball when he was a real pitcher in real life. Willie Mays Hayes, Ricky Henderson. It works well, and the baseball that's shown in the film works really well too. So I like it for that. So this movie has great sports action, has a really good underdog story. It's hilarious, it's believable, and I watch it probably 3 times per week. And for those reasons, it is my number 1 sports movie of all time, Major League. All right, Kate, do you have any?
Honorable mention.
I had Caddyshack.
Okay, have you seen that?
I did. It was on Netflix.
Okay, that's a good choice. That's
an old movie.
It is old, and it's a classic. I think I remember you watching that now when it was on.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Golf movie, Jet. It's with Bill Murray and a whole bunch of other, Chevy Chase, a whole bunch of other
Is it
really
good?
funny people.
Yeah,
it's a comedy movie. It's really funny, and it's about golf.
Okay.
I had Win-Win, which is
What?
Win-Win.
Oh, Win-Win Wrestling.
I used to watch that movie a lot.
Yeah, that's a really good movie. That's be my
Stars.
second favorite wrestling movie, though. Behind anybody? Vision Quest.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
And Turbo.
The snail racing movie.
I love that movie.
I mean, it had Ryan Reynolds. I mean, look.
Turbo?
Yeah. It had Snoop Dogg in it.
Oh my gosh.
Samuel L. Jackson, which is not surprising.
I think that's the first movie we bought digitally.
Me and Mom watched it.
It did pretty good.
We watched it. We bought it on Amazon Prime a long time ago. I think it was the very first movie we bought digitally. That's funny.
Is that good?
282.6 million. That's a good movie. I mean, it's a good box office showing. It depends on what the expectations were, but yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's my that's the honorable mention.
All right.
All right, does that conclude your honorable mentions?
Yeah.
All right, Jet, what do you have?
I have Air Bud baseball.
Oh my gosh. What?
Air Bud soccer.
You haven't even seen
Air
these.
Bud there's a lot. Air Bud soccer, Air Bud, and Air Bud baseball.
So the original was basketball.
Wait. Yeah, basketball too. Air Bud basketball.
Have you seen those?
No, he hasn't seen
I've
them.
seen
I haven't
parts.
either.
It's really entertaining.
They're horrible. That should probably be the worst, really.
Okay, moving on.
All right. I'll name a few. Obviously, I left off The Sandlot, which was very difficult for me. I loved that movie, but I didn't want more than 2 baseball movies, and today was lower than Field of Dreams.
I mean, I guess that's one of mine too, because that was my number 1, but I wanted to change it since I had it. So number 2.
My original number 4, another baseball movie that I left off, was A League of Their Own. And Jed, I'm very surprised that didn't make your list.
Forgot about that one. I love that.
That is a great, great movie. Tom Hanks, probably my favorite Tom Hanks
There's
character.
no crying in baseball.
Yeah, that's a great movie. Lots of quotable lines. And The Natural, another one I left off that I love. And there's a ton of other baseball movies that I really like that I left off. Football, I don't like football movies as much as other sports movies. I don't know why. It just doesn't translate as well for me. But I really did like Rudy, about the Notre Dame football player. So that is an honorable mention.
Wasn't there a movie about Michigan versus Texas?
That wasn't a movie. It was just a DVD we had.
Yeah, that's just from the Rose Bowl. Like, it's not a movie.
Oh.
It's just a game. All right. I did have Mighty Ducks. Boxing, there's a movie called Digstown that I really liked when I was a kid. And I watched it maybe a year or 2 ago. It was on Netflix or HBO Go or something. And it was still entertaining to watch. Kate, I had Talladega Nights as an honorable mention. And I had Caddyshack, and Karate Kid. I think you named those. And a few others I had. Happy Gilmore with Adam Sandler.
I've heard that, for sure.
Hilarious golf movie. Tin Cup is another really good golf movie. And Basketball. You guys know that one?
No.
Okay, it's from the creators of... Kate, you would love this movie. It's from the creators of South Park, which they're like hilariously inappropriate all the time. And they invented this game called Basketball, which basically combines basketball and baseball. And it becomes like this big national phenomenon. And
Sounds really stupid.
it is, but it's really funny. And The Big Lebowski, if you want to count that, has a lot of bowling.
Kick
in it.
Butowski?
The Big Lebowski. All right, so that concludes my honorable mentions, and we will go on to Cade. What is
The worst.
Space Jam.
okay? That's a good
Oh,
choice.
yeah.
I couldn't get through it. I mean,
It is
it was
really
on
bad.
Netflix, and I was like, "This is terrible."
A lot of
Yeah.
people love that movie, though.
I don't know anybody that loves that movie.
It's so bad.
It is horrible.
I couldn't watch the whole thing. I don't know.
I haven't ever gotten all the way through it either. Even when I was a kid, I couldn't watch it. It's bad.
Oh.
All right, Jet, what's your worst?
Best Michael Jordan movie.
Airbud football.
Oh my god. Why?
Some Airbuds are really good, some are really bad. I'll tell you that.
All right, my worst, and you know how I often use my choice for the worst. It's not really the worst. It's something that I think is overrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely did that here. This movie's not a bad movie, but I think it's overrated, and it's called The Blind Side. You ever heard about it?
No.
It's a football movie, and Sandra Bullock is a lead actress, and I don't like Sandra Bullock, and I don't like football movies, so it was already had 2 strikes against it. And the thing is, it's actually a moving story, and I think most people that watch it would agree it's a moving story, but it was nominated for Best Picture, and Sandra Bullock actually won an Oscar for Best Actress in a Leading Role for this movie. And for that, that's nuts to me. For that, I say it's overrated, and it's my choice for the worst. All right. Listener choices. So we got 168 votes for this poll.
Dang, that's a popular one.
Yeah, a lot of people chimed in on this one for what is the best sports movie. And I will read you the top 5 here. And it was a close race to get in the top 5. I mean, because there were a lot of... I mean, this was one of the better polls we've ever done as far as, like, competition. All right, so number 5 with 9 votes was Rudy, which is the football movie.
Oh, yeah,
about
the
Notre
one-
Dame
They got
football.
good
Yes.
beef there.
Number 4 with 10 votes, Major League.
Yee. I mean, yes.
Number 3 with 11 votes was A League of Their Own.
I should have put that on.
You should have. Number 2 with 13 votes was Field of Dreams.
Number 1's going to be Sandlot.
Number 1 with 14 votes is The Sandlot. So according to our listeners, The Sandlot is the best sports movie of all time.
Really reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. And there were a couple other choices that I wanted to point out here that I thought were really good. One of them, Jet, I didn't expect you to have it on your list, was Cool Runnings. And Sonia,
I did.
faithful listener, she always chimes in with listener choices and comments on our shows. Sonia Barber picked Cool Runnings, and that was my favorite choice out of everybody's listener choices.
Yes.
Evan Whirl picked Side Out, which is a beach volleyball movie, and that's awesome that he picked that. And then I wanted to point out, we had 3 people who picked Rookie of the Year, but Leslie Owings-Jones, I wanted to point out in particular because she said she picked it because she had a crush on the actor when she was a kid.
Really? Well, he's not bad looking.
Yeah, so I thought that was funny. So thank you to everybody who took the time to vote on that. And I also wanted to give a quick shout out while we're talking about other people to If Memory Serves podcast. I discovered this kind of randomly. I don't even know how. I think it was on Twitter, and I found them because they talk about the 80s. And what it is 2 brothers that grew up in the Bay Area in California, and they have all these memories of growing up there in the 80s, and they pick a topic, and once a month they just kind of like go into it for an hour and a half. It's really interesting. They're very articulate, and they have really cool stories and very like strong and vivid memories of certain things that when I listen to it, it definitely brings me back to my childhood. So shout out to the If Memory Serves podcast. And if you're interested in that type of stuff, I would recommend giving them a listen. All right. So let's go on to the
Pew, pew, pew,
good
pew,
Glenn Solomon fun fact of the week.
pew, pew, pew,
Good.
pew.
So my fun fact isn't really that fun, but I picked it anyways. Kevin Costner is the lead actor in Field of Dreams. He's Ray Kinsella, right? And he has starred in several really good sports movies. And I just thought it was kind of cool that he's been in a lot of the movies that we liked that are all sports movies. He was in 2 other baseball movies, Bull Durham, which is a classic.
I've heard of Bull
classic
Durham.
baseball movie, and For Love of the Game, which is another baseball movie, not as classic.
What if
but
he
still good.
what if he hated basketball, like baseball with all the guns?
He doesn't, because he looks like he can really play too. When you watch him in these movies, like he looks legit like he could play. And in the last one he was in is my favorite golf movie, Tin Cup. So there is your fun fact of the week.
Scare you?
Yes.
All right, Jed jumped there and woke you up a little bit. It's time for Jet's Pun of the Week. right, Jet, you been thinking about this?
Uh-huh.
All right, let me hear what you got.
Ever since I've quit soccer, I don't know my goal in my life.
Yay.
It's good.
I'll give you one clap. There.
What's wrong with it?
It's not bad.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not funny.
It could have been worse. You've had worse ones for sure.
I've had
the violin
really
one with the.
Oh, I don't even want to think about that.
The Michael Jackson one was really good.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah. That was with was that cereal?
The cereal one was my best.
Yeah.
With the Snoop Dogg.
That's right. Wheaties.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
I liked your violin one. That was a good one.
No.
Which one?
The violin.
You like didn't even know like most of the jokes. You're like
What
the violin.
I don't even know how
say,
to
like,
explain it.
When he did this and like it's really elaborate like.
It was really
Yeah,
strange.
it was
didn't.
bad. It was so bad.
All right, so this one wasn't bad. I'll give you credit for this one. All right.
There you go.
Well, thank you to everybody for taking the time to listen. We have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/5to1podcast. We have a Twitter account at 5to1podcast. We have an Instagram account, 5to1podcast. So give us your opinions there. We want your opinion, and it's a great spot to leave us ideas for future episodes, which I would really appreciate because honestly, sometimes I'm like, I don't know what we're going to do. So also, if you have an iPhone or have access to one, I don't know if this is going to be our next one or not, Jet. I don't know. Do you want to do this one? Okay. If you have access to an iPhone, please go give us a review on iTunes. It helps us to gain exposure. And also, I had some voicemails to play. We actually got voicemails, and I didn't get around to getting them ready to like be audible on the show. So I'm going to save those for next week. But you can call us and leave us a voicemail. It's 469-607-5to1. That's 469-607-5861. Hey, Jet, please join us next time on 5to1 for our discussion on
Top 5 2017 movies.
Top 5. All right.
Love you.